Hello and welcome to Precon Decon, the video series where I deconstruct the pre-constructed decks of Magic the Gathering's history. In this video we are continuing our look at the weird little oddity set, which is Coldsnap, and we're going to look at Beyond the Grave, which is it is allegedly a triple coloured deck. We'll get to that, but yeah, it is red, black, green, and yeah, let's just look at it. So we have 19 creatures, 10 instants, 1 sorcery, 2 enchantments, 4 artifacts, 24 land, mana curve off to the side there. As you can see, there's not a lot of green in that mana curve, so we'll talk about that as we get to it. So one of the rares in the deck, and I think the only green card in the deck, is Sek'Kuar, the Death Keeper. So this is actually a really great card in my opinion. So 2 colours, 1 black, 1 red, 1 green for a 4/3. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you get a 3/1 black and red Graveborn creature token with haste into play. So right, I mean off the bat, it's like honestly like a super good card. Just the fact it turns all your non-token creatures, you get another token out of it, and like fairly decently costed, like 3/1. Decently costed, decently sized, 3/1, and it's got haste as well. So yeah, you could potentially sacrifice a load of stuff pre-combat, and then you've got a bunch of hasty tokens to attack. The thing is, I don't understand why he's green, because it really drags this deck down. Honestly, that's just my big complaint. Because this is basically a black and red deck, and it just has like this splash of green for Sek'Kuar. And I don't understand why he's green. Like nothing about his design says green. He just could be a black and red card. There is this kind of thing that in Coldsnap there is a cycle of like these tri-colored legends, like in the shard combinations. They're not even all legends, actually. Thinking about it, no, they're just rare tri-colored creatures. And yeah, it just didn't need to be tricolored. Just making him black and red would be absolutely fine. Perfectly good card. But the fact he's green in like this deck, there's primarily black and red, means that you are never really going to get to cast it, because I said you've got like I think what 3 forests, yeah, and no real way of producing green mana. So honestly, really frustrating choice, like right off the bat. But anyway, I mean, it's a good card. It's just the way the deck is built around it is really annoying, and that you will barely get to cast it. Anyway, moving on. So we have 3 Gutless Ghouls. So 2 colours, 1 black for a 2/2. It's a snow creature, that being a thing of Coldsnap. Snow is now like a super type, like the way like Artifact or Enchantment is. And you can pay 1, sacrifice creature, gain 2 life. Yep, like perfectly good sacrifice outlet. And if you do obviously get Sek'Kuar out, which may be difficult, I'm going to stop going on about that. Like it really annoys me, honestly. Yeah, this is a good way of sacrificing your stuff and then pumping out the Graveborn tokens. Yeah, it's fine. And also, just if your creature's going to die anyway, you might as well eat it and get 2 life out of it. Gristlegrinner is a really great zombie. I've run it in a few decks before, and like it ramps up so quickly, like really unexpectedly fast as well. So 5 mana for 3/3. It doesn't have any abilities, which is a shame. But whenever a creature dies anywhere, doesn't have to be just your creature, it can be any creature. Whenever a creature dies, gets +2/+2 till end of turn. So this is almost always, I think, going to be swinging as a 5/5 at least. Yeah, really good. I really like Gristlegrinner. Really wish it got like a reprint or something. But yeah, really good card, really solid attacker. And 2 Orcish Blood Painters, 2 colours, 1 red for a 2/1. Tap, sacrifice a creature, does 1 damage to target creature or player. I'm not so keen on this, just because just sacrificing a creature just to do 1 damage is like not wonderful. I feel like that should be 2 damage, or like 2 damage if you add maybe like a mana cost to the ability as well. But yeah, not wonderful in my opinion. Not wonderful. So the other rare of the deck is Voidmaw, which is super cool. I really like Voidmaw. So 4 colours and 2 black. For a 4/5 trample, if a creature would be put into a graveyard from play, it instead gets exiled, and put a card exiled with Voidmaw into an owner's graveyard. It gets +2/+2 10/10. So this is actually kind of like a thing about, like, this is a weird predecessor to the Eldrazi in like not the first Zendikar set, the second Zendikar set with like ingest, and like how you had some Eldrazi that cared about exiling cards, and you had some Eldrazi that then cared about like taking the exiled cards and giving them back for an effect. So it's like this weird. I mean, the Voidmaw does both of it. You know, it eats stuff, it exiles it, and then you return the exiled cards back to give a boost. But yeah, I think it's like pretty good. And like, you know, 6 mana for a 4/5 trample in black. You know, it's got no drawbacks essentially. In black at this time is honestly pretty good. So yeah, I think it's okay. I think it's okay. Maybe some weird kind of like maybe a little bit of anti-synergy, I suppose. Maybe, just because it's not really, is it? Because it gets exiled, and then you can just return it straight away. Yeah. So yeah, actually, honestly, really solid card. I think Voidmaw, and the fact it's got trample is honestly just icing on the cake. So we have a single deep fire elemental, so 4 colors, 1 black and 1 red for a 4/4, and it has the I was going to say it has the Gorilla Shaman ability. It doesn't have the Gorilla Shaman ability at all. It has something much better. X and 1 to destroy an artifact or creature with mana value X. So this is like a really good mana sink. Expensive, but you know, once you get enough mana to get this going, and you can start reliably destroying, you know, artifacts or creatures, I think it'd be pretty hard to deal with, honestly. Like even if you could pay, I don't know, what, 7 into this, so yeah, so then X would be 3, destroying like 3 drops. I think that's pretty good, honestly. And you'll be able to afford it anyway because you're paying 6 mana to drop him anyway. Yeah, really good. And the fact it doesn't require like a tap, yeah, so you can use that ability and then swing with it. Yeah, I think really good, honestly. Like I say, expensive, but yeah, good. 2 Disciple of Tevesh Zat, so 4 mana for a 3/1. Tap to give a creature -1/-1 till end of turn, or 4 colors, 2 black, tap, sacrifice Disciple of Tevesh Zat to give a creature -6/-6 till end of turn. So that final ability is obviously very expensive, but like that is almost a guaranteed kill against pretty much anything. I think that was around at the time. Yeah, anything that's not boosted up with, you know, like auras or +1 counters or whatever. -6/-6 is like really big, and like even if it's not killing it, you're making something very, very vulnerable for a turn. And yeah, I mean, just the fact he's got the tap to give something -1/-1 till end turn, kill X1s. Maybe a little expensive at 4 mana just for a 3/1. But yeah, I think fine. I've just giving -1/-1 repeatedly can really sort of like change combats and stuff. So yeah, I think it's okay. 2 Balduvian Dead. So this is one of the Alliance's reprints. You can tell because, well, not only because it's got the Alliance's symbol, but also because it's got really old 90s art, and also it's a much clearer, sharper image because I had to get this off Scryfall rather than Gatherer, the card image. So Balduvian Dead, 4 mana for a 2/3. 2 cards in a red, exile a creature card from your graveyard, and you make a 3/1 black and red Graveborn creature token with haste. So Sek'Kuar is obviously referencing like this card with his ability. But then you sacrifice it in turn. But that's perfectly fine, I think, to turn a dead creature into a 3/1 hasty creature that you just swing with, and then it dies at end of turn anyway. I think that's perfectly fine. If you've got no other way of getting it back anyway, you might as well do that. Single Ashen Ghoul, so this is an Ice Age reprint, so 4 mana for a 3/1 with haste. You can pay 1 black to return Ashen Ghoul from your graveyard to play, but only during your upkeep, and if there are 3 or more creature cards above Ashen Ghoul. So this is a card from the time where like graveyard order like really mattered. Nowadays it's not like a thing at all. Like there's no cards that care about like what order your graveyard is in. Because you know it's just, you know, people like obviously like shuffling through their, you know, graveyards and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, like the ability's fine. The fact it can come back for only a single black mana, but like you've got to you've got to get it. You've got to jump through some hoops to make it to work. I think it's okay, I suppose. Well, you know, the fact I was going to say it's like sacrifice fodder, but it's not, because then when it dies and gets back into your graveyard, you've then got to get 3 creatures back on top of it again to bring it back. So I think you'd really only really realistically get that ability off maybe once a game, maybe twice if you're lucky. Yeah. And then you'd have to have so much dead, you'd be like, oh, I'm probably not in a great position. A 3/1 with haste is really going to tip things for me, but I could be wrong. Two Insidious Bookworms. One black mana for a 1/1. When it dies, you can pay one card to one black, and if you do, a player discards a card at random, which is actually a pretty fun little ability, I suppose. I mean, random discard is, always, I think, maybe has the potential to be really unfun, but yeah, I think it's okay. I have a bit of nostalgia for Insidious Bookworms because it was one of the cards in like the very first um, booster packs of Magic I ever bought. Like before I even really knew what the game was, I just like bought the cards because I thought they looked cool. And yeah, Insidious Bookworms was one of the cards in the pack of alliances that I bought. I had no idea how to play the game, but I remember what was in that booster pack, and yep, Insidious Bookworms was one of them. And I just remember thinking like, oh, it's a weird card, but anyway. A single, how am I going to pronounce this? Keldoran dead? We'll go with Keldoran. I'm going to presume it's a silent J. So one black mana for a 3/1. When it comes into play, you have to sacrifice a creature and has one black regenerate Keldoran dead. So this is like Drudge Skeleton's like buff brother. So yeah, I mean obviously like one black mana for a 3/1 is very good. And the fact that it has one black mana regeneration is also very, very good. I think it's worth sacrificing a creature for this, honestly, to get a 3/1 for one with only with only one black mana to regenerate. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, I think it's perfectly good card. I think it's perfectly good reprint as well. Let's 3/1 obviously means it can punch up really well, and regeneration means like it's actually quite a scary blocker as well, and scary attacker, honestly, because one toughness, obviously it can die pretty easily. But yeah, being able to regenerate for a single black mana is obviously really, really good. A single Orcish Healer, another reprint. So 2 red for a 1/1, and then it has like this weird Ice Age templating of its abilities. So double red, target creature can't be regenerated this turn. That was like a big thing at like around Ice Age era. Like a lot of cards really care about switching off regeneration. Which I mean, I get regeneration at the time was like very, very strong. 2 black and 1 red, regenerate target black or green creature. 1 red and 2 green, regenerate target black or green creature. These days that would be written as like the hybrid mana. So I'm really surprised it actually wasn't written as the. Oh no, it wouldn't work as the hybrid mana symbol because that would essentially change it. You could play it then for 1 black and 1 green. But yeah, just just a very weird ability. Obviously regenerating only black creatures with this ability because say you don't have it. Well, Sek'Kuar is a green creature, but he's also a black creature, so it's fine. And then back to actual Coldsnap cards after all those reprints. So 3 Grim Harvests. So 1 card and 1 black. For a instant, you can return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. It has the Recover ability. So Recover is when a creature you control dies. If Grim Harvest is in your graveyard, you can pay the Recover cost, and if you do, it comes back into your hand. But if you don't pay the Recover cost, it's exiled. So you get like 1 chance to try and get it back. Which is, I think it's a fun ability, it's just a shame it's not really used that much or hasn't been seen since, It's sort of like it sort of falls in the same thing as like buyback in that like it can't be on too good of a card because like if you timed it right and you left your mana open, you could potentially play 1 copy of it like maybe 3 or 4 times in a game. So it can't be on an effect that's too good. Like with Krovikan Rot here. So 3 mana instant destroys a creature with power 2 or less, so it's quite expensive for what it does, but the fact it has Recover means that you could potentially play it like a lot of times. But of course, if you miss that Recover window, then you've lost your chance to do it. But yeah, it's okay. 2 Dark Banishing, just classic Dark Banishing, another Ice Age reprint. And not much to say about Dark Banishing. And then a single Dark Ritual with very goofy art. 1 black mana gives you triple black. Yep, classic Dark Ritual. Really, really like Dark Ritual. It was really. I think this is the first time you would have had Dark Ritual in the new frame actually, because this is before Dual Decks added Dark Rituals in. So yeah, this actually would have been quite a big deal. I think. Just unfortunate it's that really goofy 90s Ice Age art. On the subject of goofy art. So we have 2 Death Sparks, 1 red. Instant does 1 damage to any target. At beginning of your upkeep, if Death Spark is in your graveyard with a creature card directly above it, that's another thing that cares about graveyard order, you can pay 1. If you do, Death Spark comes back into your hand. So this is like an okay, like recurring burn spell, I suppose. Obviously, it can't be too strong because that condition to get it back is actually not that not that strenuous to try and meet. It's okay. Single soul burn. So this actually got reprinted in Invasion as well. So X 2 and 1 black, spend only black or red mana on X. Soulburn deals X damage to target creature or player. You gain life equal to the damage dealt, except for, and then a whole bunch of like restrictions, but not more than the amount of black mana spent on X, the player's life total before Soulburn dealt damage, or the creature's toughness. And like, I talked about this when it got reprinted in Invasion, but like I hate this restriction. It's just like I'm putting a lot of mana into like X. Just like let me gain the life. Don't put all these restrictions on it. Like, I should be rewarded for spending all my mana on the X. I don't know. It's very. I sort of get why it's there. I sort of get like the fluff of it, of why you can't, I guess, absorb more life than your target has. But yeah, don't like it. And then 2 casting a bones. This I think is alright. This was another card that was actually in the first Alliance's booster pack I ever got. So 2 cards and 1 black. Aura goes on a creature. When enchanted creature dies, you draw 3 cards, then discard 1 of them. That's actually okay, I think, especially in this deck where you're kind of sacrificing your creatures a lot. So be able to turn that into a draw 3 and discard 1 is actually pretty good, I think. And then a single Cold Steel Heart, 2 colors. It's a snow artifact. Comes into play tapped. When it comes into play, choose a color. Tap, add 1 mana of the chosen color to your mana pool, which in this deck is pretty much always going to be black or red. Yeah, it's fine. Just a flexible mana rock. 2 Barb Sextants, so 1 mana artifact, 1 tap, sacrifice Barb Sextant, add 1 mana of any card to your mana pool, and then draw a card at the beginning of next turn's upkeep. So it just filters mana and draws you a card, fine. And then a single Skull Catapult, 4 mana, artifact, 1 tap, sacrifice creature, does 2 damage to target creature or player. Yep, fine, goes with the theme of the deck, which is just sacrificing your stuff. It's okay. So it could have been. So I do think the card selection in this is actually kind of weird. Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of wish actually would have used this deck to kind of show off the recover cards. So like Resize could have gone in here, which just serves as a buff spell. And actually, weirdly, I think there's actually better cards from Alliances and Ice Age that could have been reprinted that would have fit in here better, I think. So Fumarole is a sorcery. You, as discard cost, you pay 3 life to destroy a creature or a land. So it's just, kind of a general purpose destruction spell. Very expensive though, so 5 mana and 3 life. But whatever, destroys anything. Oh, it destroys creature and land. Oh, okay, that's actually okay then for 5. Feast or Famine is a kill spell, or you make a zombie token. The deck, I think, wants to do both those things, either kill enemy creatures or make a token that you can sacrifice. And why not? Pyroclasm just does 2 damage to every creature, kills all your opponent's creatures, probably kills a lot of your creatures, but then you get benefits when your creatures die, so, I guess. So in summary, I hate this deck is triple coloured because it's not. You could have just left Sek'Kuar out of here completely and just made it a weird kind of janky black-red sacrifice deck. Yeah, I don't think the card selection is too good, but like part of that is just because it's drawing from a very weird card pool of 2 at this time about 10-year-old sets, and then also whatever Coldsnap introduces. It just feels a bit all over the place. I'm not too fond of it. I had no idea how it would have played. I think it would have been a bit of a mess, honestly, to play. But that's just what I think after seeing the deck list and sort of like looking at it on paper. Obviously, in real life, it might have played very differently. Might have actually played well. But if you've got any stories or opinions or thoughts on this deck, please put a comment below. I like to always read those, read whatever people say. But I'll be back next time to look at another Coldsnap pre-constructed deck. But until then, thank you for watching and listening, and have a great day.